It is my pleasure to introduce our program today, our speakers, for an organization that I've been affiliated with now for about 5 or 6 years, Homeless Youth Connection. Consistent with Randy's theme for this year for the homeless, Homeless Youth Connection works with young adults, high school kids that are homeless. And that's always been a difficult thing for me to kind of get my head around, because I think all of us here, or at least most of us here, when you were in high school, you had a nice, happy home to be with, and you were able to finish your schooling without any problems. You had support and you had commitment from family. These young kids don't have any of that. So Homeless Youth Connection steps up and does all that, including a great home hosting program for those kids that don't have anywhere to go and literally have slept in their cars or on the couch of a friend or the couch of a school teacher or that sort of thing. So I'm extremely happy to be affiliated with this organization. I am on the board. And without further ado, I want to introduce Dawn Bogart, who is the executive director. Dawn is going to speak for a while, and then we'll hear from Chance Bogart. Chance, I'm probably going to get your position wrong. At any rate, I always say he's a community outreach? No, that's my job, community outreach director, but I know I have that wrong, so you'll correct me when you speak. But Dawn?
You did good. Too old. I need to, before I explain Homeless Youth Connection and the wonderful support that we've had from Phoenix Rotary 100, when you talk about age, I need to show mine and let you know that I have actually been affiliated with this Rotary for more than 20 years. Is Alistair still here? I'm sorry to hear about Seroptimist, because that was one of the ways that I was first introduced to this organization, and I was part of that group that would review the applications every year. And you're right, it is a very, very hard job. And there are so many wonderful kids out there who, because of your support, are able to go on to college and other opportunities. So I've actually had the privilege through a number of different organizations to be here almost every single year, at least once or twice. And I am so pleased to be able to continue to be involved with this organization, because I'm counting literally on another 20 years, and I will explain why. So Homeless Youth Connection was founded in 2010 by who? The Rotary. Thanks to Rotary members in the West Valley and so a few church members, they found out that a few kids in a local high school did not have the basic needs. They needed to stay in school and complete their education. And so through the Rotary, they did what they do best. They, through grassroots efforts, whether it was a barbecue or first starting off in car washes, collected enough money to help about 47 kids receive the backpacks and school supplies they needed to stay in school. I don't think when they delivered the backpacks that they had any idea what the real need was, because it expanded, literally, I should say it exploded beyond that first year. And within a year and a half, Homeless Youth Connection was not only founded, but grew from one high school to more than 20 high schools in 3 districts. Within a few years, it expanded to 6 districts, covering more than 1,250 square miles. We have been expanding exponentially. Today, we are serving more than 80 high schools throughout Maricopa County. And really, that is because of your continued support, your continued ability to increase our awareness throughout the community. We continue with the basic needs. That is our fundamental process that we assist the kids with. We provide basic case management because, as somebody said earlier, our kids don't have somebody, as Howie was saying, our kids don't have parents that are supportive and allow them to have the resources they need to stay in school. You know, a lot of people think, they see that guy standing on the side of the street with the sign, and that's their vision of homeless. They don't understand that our kids are thrown away. Our kids are homeless because mom and dad get divorced, and that new boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, what have you, doesn't like the kids. They don't like that the attention the kids are getting. They want all that new attention. And so they ask the kids to go stay in for friends with the weekend. A weekend turns into a week, turns into a month. A lot of our kids are with us because their parents are drug addicts, and they would rather do drugs than put food on the table. And a lot of our kids are with us because they turn 18 in their senior year, and their parents think that they've met their financial obligation, and it doesn't matter whether it's 6 weeks or 3 months left of high school. I've done my thing. You need to figure it out from here. And everything that child has worked on for the last 4 years is potentially going down the drain because they no longer have nowhere to live. They no longer have the support to take a shower or get food or have any clothing, and they need to try and figure it out on their own. Homeless Youth Connection is very different because we actually go into the schools to provide the resources. We take the services to them. Most importantly, Howie was talking about our housing program. 5 years ago, we started researching this barrier, and we decided to implement a very unique and innovative program to house these kids. Because we were dealing with 1,250 square miles at the time, now we're at 9,000 square miles. The host family program is unique because it allows students to stay near their high school with a community volunteer that is willing to open their home and provide safe and stable housing. Since we implemented the host family program 3 or 4 years ago, more than 80 students have been placed with host families throughout the valley. When I started researching this program years ago, I thought I was addressing a barrier. You know, let's just provide housing so the kids can stay in school. I had no idea the personal impact that it would have for some of these kids and the relationships that would be built. And this week, I had the privilege of seeing one of our original students be formally adopted by her original host family. This is a relationship that has been created. The woman went on to graduation. She's going to be a cybersecurity agent for the Pentagon. But more importantly to her, she has a father who will protect her and a mother who will give her unconditional love. It's not something I thought this program was going to do, but it was a wonderful, wonderful byproduct. I'm talking 20 years that I want this relationship to grow because we have found out that Homeless Youth Connection is a unique program not only here in Arizona, but throughout the country. We are now starting to work with other organizations that want to take this program nationally. And they're asking me, how are we going to do it? And I say simple, Rotary. We have put together partnerships with not only Rotarians, but other national organizations and corporations that can go into individual communities and help establish programs like HYC so we can take care of the 1.3 million kids that are just trying to stay in school and complete their education. There are more than 8,000 kids here in Arizona alone in Maricopa County just through 9th through 12th grade. Do you see them? No. because they're sleeping on somebody else's sofa. They're hiding in the parks. They're trying to fly below the radar. They don't want to be in the system, but they do know that the education is a silver bullet, and they know that they have to graduate if they have any chance for a positive future. And because of support from organizations like Rotary, we can continue to have that support. Howie and Chance know I can stand up here for an hour and talk about our success, but I want to share with you 3 of the students who have had our success. So Homeless Youth Connection started with one man who wanted to make sure that kids had the school supplies they needed to go to school. He took his energy, which is abundant, and worked with his Rotary and his church to serve the different kids who are homeless, identified as homeless, in the local high schools. Started serving with basic needs, hygiene items, school supplies, clothing, food, and from there it expanded exponentially. Today we're serving more than 400 kids on an annual basis. Since 2010, we've served more than 1,100 homeless students throughout Maricopa County. So our case managers go in and work directly with the students. They provide basic needs, counseling, case management, and most importantly, today we're also serving housing. A lot of our kids are thrown away by their parents, for lack of a better word.
Back in early January, I turned 18, and my mother and I, we had conflict before. On the day of my birthday, she told me that my birthday present was that she was going to take me out.
So when I was younger, my biological family was very into drugs, very complete terrible scene like no kid should ever be in.
I was kicked out when it was stormy and it was raining, and it literally sounds so cliche, but it was literally raining and super cold outside.
Foster care is not fun. Going in and out of houses is not fun. I was living on couches back and forth at my friends' houses, and
She was like, you know, I've had enough. You have 5 minutes to pack your stuff. You have 5 minutes to go. So
those kids, if it weren't for groups like HYC stepping in, what would happen to them? Where would they go? And that peace, that security, that cohesiveness that they offer needs to be given to our most vulnerable students.
These teenagers need someone to love them, and that looks different for every single person.
she literally did everything I needed to help me. She found me somewhere to live. She helped me with school. She got me what I needed to get through school, and she put me around people that were good for me.
I have a great host family. Peter and Dana are really nice. They have a son named John who's my age, and we both get along over comics and all that nerdy stuff.
Tyler is creative, and he has a huge heart. But mostly he has big dreams for his future, and he needs a stable place to be able to jump off.
My host family, they're really amazing. I was nervous at first, but it came to them. They have 2 little kids and 3 dogs. They're all huskies, and they're wonderful. I really feel at home. They're very hopeful.
I feel like a whole new person.
I am currently in the process of decorating my room in Marvel posters.
I'm me again, and it's so awesome. I haven't been me in so long, and I haven't been this happy in so long, and I love it.
My case manager has really helped me to have confidence in myself and to really believe in myself.
They make you feel like siblings you've never had. That's how close they are with you.
As they continue to take the right steps, and as we work on their life skills, and as we work on their plan for the future, they just start to get to the point where they want and they want and they want to do so good.
But nobody was ever there to love me or try to help me get the best out of me, if that makes sense. And now I have somebody here that's trying to make me go so high up in this world, and it's so like, literally, it makes me crazy. I get so excited.
It's just, it changes your life. It really does. And all of these, we were able to help her out of that and help her get into a host family. And now, today, she loves it.
I always wanted to be a surgeon. I wanted to be someone in life. I was like, I don't want to be nothing. I don't want to keep asking for help for people and stuff like that. But with my host family, they're giving me much more hope that I actually can do it, because I had doubts, like being a surgeon, like from what I came from, there's no way I could, but I mean, I really feel like I can be a surgeon.
Homeless Youth Connection really has the opportunity to impact ending youth homelessness. We know that there's a lot of homeless families out there. If we can help the kids before they get out of high school, we can actually break the cycles of chronic homelessness. That video is actually 2 years old. I keep my costs down and I'll eventually replace it. But what's important to know is all 3 of those students went on to graduate and are in college. 2 of them are second year students at ASU. When you look at the economic impact that HYC has in the Valley, 80% of our students are not only graduating, but they're going on to college, vocational training, the military, and the workforce. On average, 75% of homeless youth drop out of school. We were talking about the mayors earlier and how they're so proud of those kids in school. They actually did a study a couple years ago, and they determined that for every dropout, it costs the state of Arizona almost $400,000 in lost revenue. Last year, we had 180 students not only graduate, but go on to college and voc training. We make an economic difference. It's not only about the heart and all of the support, but it really is also dollars and cents. I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done. I know that your financial support is really, really important, and we are incredibly grateful. But I also know that you like to get your hands dirty, and you like volunteer opportunities where you can see the kids that you're supporting eye to eye. So it's my pleasure to introduce Chance to you, who is going to talk about some of the volunteer opportunities that we have happening right here in this neighborhood.
Thank you, Dawn. It was Bring Your Son to Work Day. That's really why I'm here. I am honored and privileged to be here. I have connected with Rotarians for quite some time now. In fact, I just was sitting with your previous governor for District 5495, Nancy Van Pelt, earlier this week to talk about ways that the Rotarians can get more involved with us at Homeless Youth Connection. One of those great ways is inviting members of your Rotary to come out to our facility to take a tour. You guys are wonderfully gracious to invite us here, and we would love to have you out at our site so that you can see how we operate at HYC and how we make an impact in over 9,000 square miles. We have 3 events where you can come out and attend. It's a free charge to you, so no charge to you at all. It's the Volunteer Welcome event, which happens the second Saturday of every month. That's this Saturday coming up. It's 9:30 to 11. It's a quick hour and a half. We take you on a tour, but also we dive into the different and various opportunities for being involved with Homeless Youth Connection. We have 2 other great events that does the same kind of concept, giving you the behind the scenes. One is focused around our host family program. So if you've ever been interested in being a foster parent, or maybe the restrictions for being a foster parent was maybe too much, our host family program is very, very flexible. It's very similar to a foreign exchange program. We have what's known as our Talk About It Tuesdays. It's the 3rd Tuesday of the month where you can come out and have a great conversation with staff, but more importantly, hear the ways to get involved by hosting a student in your home. The other one is great for businesses or churches or service organizations to come out on the 1st Thursday of the month, known as the Connection Tour. Same kind of concept, getting involved in the community, bringing them out to see what we have at HYC. We are going to be introducing something really exciting, and I'm really hoping that Phoenix Rotary will be a part of this. I don't know if it was mentioned, but we have what's known as our Teen Exchange at our facility, and that's where we house all of our donations. And what's really great about this is that it allows our case managers to be innovative in the process of getting the goods to the students, because it is a barrier, transportation, having a student have to come from Mesa all the way to Avondale to pick up hygiene items so that they can stay in school and be successful. We are going to be opening up our Teen Exchange on Saturdays so that students that are in Mesa or Central Phoenix can come out and really see the benefit of our Teen Exchange, because it has way more than just hygiene items and clothing. We have great donations that come from community partners, so we're really excited for this pilot program that will be starting on January 19th. But really, more importantly, it's going to be an opportunity for individuals like yourself to come out and get involved. You'll have a one-on-one experience with those students, being able to help them shop, budget, also just be able to share with them your stories of success and how you're able to make it in today's world. It's going to be a great opportunity, and I hope one day we'll be able to secure maybe a couple days, because you guys are quite the large Rotary Club, but we're really looking forward to it. There's information outside, so I do hope you'll stop by and sign up for one of those wonderful free events. And this, I think, is time to turn over to Q&A if anyone has any questions or about our program.
Is there a vetting process for these children, or you're just going to help everybody that walks in that door?
That's a great question. I should say that, and I mentioned the 80 high schools. All of our students are actually identified by the high schools using what's called the McKinney-Vento criteria. So they receive federal money to provide services to these kids, but in reality, what happens is the money runs out. And that's why HYC steps in, because they don't have the resources. We try to be extremely fiscally responsible. My background is in fundraising, and prior to that, I actually used to give the money away a long time ago to organizations, so I really watch every nickel, dime, and penny. My biggest pet peeve is middle management. So I make sure that the majority of our resources are going to direct service. What I didn't mention about the students before, we had said 1,100 students. Within 2 years, we've more than doubled that. This year, we're actually on track to serve more than 700 kids. We're at 500 already. And we have 4 more months to go. So we try not to turn anybody away, but we are only working with 80 high schools right now in about 10 districts. That is actually only 10% of the population.
Right over here. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I realize you also have one. You qualify for the foster care tax credit,
bet
right?
We do. Thank
All
you
right.
for asking.
It's $500 for singles and $1,000 for people filing jointly, right?
400 for singles, 800 for married couples. And yes, you can still take advantage of the tax program until April 15th. We do have information out front. And we have a website, hycaz.org.
2 questions. First question are, to what extent is sexual orientation the driving cause that these kids become estranged from their biological families, and what are the other major causes? And the second question is, how would you differentiate your program from foster care? Great
question. In around the country, it's a high percentage. 40% of the kids that are homeless are LGBTQ, and it's because their family does not embrace their choices. Thank you so much for asking that. As far as how are we different than foster care? And somebody was asking me earlier, do we work with kids who are aging out of the foster care system? And that's what happens. A lot of the kids have been let down by the system. You saw Riley, who was in and out of foster care. Some of you attended our breakfast earlier in December, and Jamie, our speaker, was in and out of foster care, and her innocence was taken away by her foster parent at 14 years of age. So a lot of times, unfortunately, the kids are let down by the foster care system. We end up picking them up while they're in high school. We try to let them know that, you know what, believe it or not, there's still a lot of great things you can take advantage of if you stay in the system, and we'll help you work through that. But a lot of times they just have had enough, and then we try and step in and make sure that they have the additional resources they need to stay in. Howie, did you question? Does that help?
No. I did want you to explain about the comments you made about the hygiene products and how we at Rotary might be able to help with that. And then it's kind of a two-part question. The other part is, I know, having been many times at HYC, there are a plethora of items for the kids to shop and fulfill their needs. Can you expand a little bit on that?
Sure. I'm actually going to ask Chance to talk about this because I'd like you to talk about our emergency pantries.
Great question. So actually, next week we are starting the process. We are in the Phoenix Union District, so we are serving 10 of their high schools, and each of those high schools that we are serving have what's known as their resource closet or food bank. We're working collectively together to address that pantry and to revamp it and staff it, as well as provide the fixtures and materials to make it efficient and effective for our students to be able to shop. So our teen exchange at our location is not the only teen exchange that we have. We are working closely with our partnering schools to establish their own resource closet because we are so grateful of the abundance, and I do mean abundance, of donations that come in from our corporate sponsors. Right before the holidays, Dick's Sporting Goods was able to donate over $130,000 of apparel. We had 8 Gaylord size apparel that came in, and that was an incredible donation. So we work closely with our schools to make sure that the product that comes into HYC goes quickly into our teen exchange and then out to our partnering schools. That's not to say that the community is not needed in that process. A lot of the donations that come in that support our teen exchange and resource closets across the Maricopa County is through individuals or groups like Rotary. So you can host donation drives to collect hygiene items, clothing items. We also accept gift cards for $5 increments to fast food, as well as grocery gift cards at $25 to $30, which allow our students to shop. So we're working closely with the communities where our services are, and our hope is to maybe connect Phoenix Rotary with Phoenix Union. Instead of bringing those resources to us at HYC, we might be able just to work out a situation where you can just bring them directly to the schools in your neighborhood that are established resource closets. Great question, Howie. Thank you. And just one more mention about the host family program regarding the foster care program. A really great thing about our host family program is we don't only rely on community identified host families, we also have a high percentage of self-identified host families. That's where my start really began when I was 18 in high school. My best friend was being abused by her father, and we took her in our home. And that's what we do as an agency, is we go to those individuals who become self-identified host families, and we provide all of our services and cares, and offering a $200 stipend. So there's 2 ways to be a host family, which makes this a really unique program.
Is there any idea of going national with a program like this?
Yes, that's exactly the plan. We received our first federal grant this year, and we've been connected with one of the main departments of Child and Health and Human Services, I think, and that was their question. Honestly, I didn't think we were going to get funded. I thought our numbers were too small regarding the host family program, because at the time I was only looking at about 60. But when I learned is that there are no other programs like ours in the country. There's a lot of great programs out there, don't get me wrong, but there's no other programs that actually go into the home or go into the schools and provide the services. And the host family program is filling the gaps of organizations like the Child Welfare Service that they don't have enough resources either. And so we're working with a couple of different organizations to figure out how do we develop this model on a large scale and take it into the other districts. So we're trying trying to identify other districts that are similar to Phoenix. We're looking at national organizations like Rotary and Kiwanis and Seroptimus, Catholic Charities, and a lot of different national companies. My goal is to put together a committee of all of these different similar individuals into each different city, and then go in and establish HYC programs. Thank you for asking.
One last question. First off, I want to compliment you. I wish I could have called my mom by her first name. But I'm curious, on a serious note, what about the youth who aren't in high school?
You know what? That's a really, really good question. When you look at homeless youth, it typically is between 14 and 24. And there is a population between 18 and 24 that still need assistance. And again, there's several really good organizations in the Valley that are helping them. A lot of times those kids need a lot more service than we can offer. Knowing that there's 8,000 kids in high school, that's a lot for me to want to try and help. There's probably another 200 to 300 kids that need the assistance as well, and there's some other really, really good programs out there. If you're interested in working with them, I'd be happy to tell you about them. But they need shelter just like our kids do. They need help with medical. They need help with job opportunities. And a lot of them are homeless because of their sexual orientation. But a lot of them are homeless because of mental health issues and depression. People do not realize how many high school kids have so much trauma and depression that they are dealing with, and it is an unrecognized, unmet need in our society, and unfortunately those are the kids that are slipping through the cracks. Thank you for asking.
Well, Dawn and Chance, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate everything you do for our community. Rotary has a long connection, as you mentioned, in that it was started by a Rotarian. And our club this year made a sizable donation to 4 charities, including yours, which was actually, yours was matched by Legacy Foundation. So we're very proud of this association that we have with you, and hope to continue in the future. I'd like to give you each a certificate in appreciation for your being here today. One for you, Dawn, and one for you, Chance. And of course, we've already made a donation to your organization, and we thank you so much for being here, and continue your good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.